Number 6, India. India is the sixth largest economy in the world with the GDP of 2.66 trillion in 2020, more than 7% lower than in 2019. Because of its large population, India has the lowest per capita GDP on our list. India's economy is a mixture of traditional village farming and handicrafts, alongside booming modern industry and mechanized agriculture. India is a major exporter of technology, services, and business outsourcing, and the service sector makes up a large share of its economic output. Liberalization of India's economy since the 1990s has boosted economic growth, but inflexible business regulation, widespread corruption, and persistent poverty pose challenges to ongoing expansion. Number 7 is France. France had a GDP of $2.63 trillion in 2020, ranking 7th in the world. Tourism is an important industry, and France receives the most visitors of any country each year. France is a mixed economy that has many private and semi-private businesses across a diverse range of industries. However, there is still heavy government involvement in certain key sectors, such as defense and electrical power generation. The French government's commitment to economic intervention in favor of social equality also creates some challenges for the economy, such as a rigid labor market with high unemployment and a large public debt relative to other advanced economies. Number 8, Italy. The world's eighth largest GDP belongs to Italy at 1.89 trillion in 2020, down 8.9% from 2019. It is also the Eurozone's third largest economy. Italy's economy and level of development vary notably by region, with a more developed industrial economy in the north and underdeveloped southern regions. Italy faces persistently sluggish economic growth due to a very high public debt, an inefficient court system, a weak banking sector, an inefficient labor market with chronically high youth unemployment, and a large underground economy. Number 9, Canada. Canada had $1.64 trillion in GDP in 2020, making it the world's ninth largest economy. Canada has a well developed energy extraction sector with the world's third largest proven oil reserves. Canada also has impressive manufacturing and service sectors, based mostly in urban areas near the US border. Canada's free trade relationship with the United States means that three-quarters of Canadian exports head to the US market each year. Canada's close ties to the United States mean that it has developed largely in parallel to the world's largest economy. Number 10, South Korea. Rounding out the top 10 economies in the world by GDP, South Korea, with a GDP of $1.64 trillion in 2020, is the 10th largest world economy. South Korea's economy is a 20th century success story that is today firmly established as an advanced industrial economy, known for its strategy of export-led growth and the dominance of its cables, large business conglomerates. South Korea in recent decades has built a network of free trade agreements covering 58 countries that account for more than three-quarters of the world's GDP. It is a major producer and exporter of electronics, telecommunications equipment, and motor vehicles. With this progress, however, South Korea also now faces some of the same challenges that many other advanced economies are dealing with, including slower growth and an aging workforce. Number 11, Russia. 2020 nominal GDP in current US dollar $1.48 trillion. Russia is the world's 11th largest economy and has moved toward a more market-based economy over the 30 years since the collapse of the Soviet Union. but government ownership of and intervention in business is still common. As a leading exporter of oil and gas, as well as other minerals and metals, Russia's economy is highly sensitive to swings in world commodity prices. Number 12, Brazil. Brazil is the 12th largest economy in the world and the largest in South America, with a 2020 GDP of 1.44 trillion. Brazil's diversified economy runs the gamut from heavy industries such as aircraft and automotive production to mineral and energy resource extraction. It also has a large agricultural sector that makes it a major exporter of coffee and soybeans. Brazil emerged from a severe recession in 2017 and suffered a series of high-level corruption scandals along the way. In the wake of these events, Brazil instituted a series of major economic reforms intended to rein in public spending and debt, invest in energy infrastructure, lower barriers to foreign investment, and improve labor market conditions. Number 13, Australia. Australia is the 13th largest economy in the world with a GDP of $1.33 trillion in 2020. Australia combines a relatively open domestic economy with an extensive network of free trade arrangements with trading partners all around the Asia Pacific rim. This works to the advantages of Australia's abundant natural resource and agricultural export industries. However, it has also left Australia vulnerable to swings in world commodity demand and prices in energy, coal and natural gas, metals, iron ore and gold, and agricultural products, beef and sheep products. Number 14, Spain. Spain had a GDP of $1.28 trillion in 2020, making it the 14th largest economy in the world by GDP. Spain's economy suffered severely during the Great Recession, with unemployment soaring above 25% and the rising national debt despite attempts at fiscal austerity. It has recovered in recent years as moderating inflation and labor costs have encouraged foreign investment and increased the competitiveness of Spain's exports, including manufactured machinery and foodstuffs. However, political instability has hindered the government's ability to sustain further economic reforms. Number 15, Mexico. Mexico's GDP was $1.07 trillion in 2020, making it the 15th largest economy in the world. Over the past 3 decades, Mexico has emerged as a manufacturing economy under a series of free trade arrangements with the United States, Canada, and 44 other countries. Many major US manufacturers have integrated supply chains with counterparts or operations in Mexico. Mexico supports a variety of exports, including consumer electronics, vehicles, and auto parts, as well as petroleum and agricultural products. The international drug trade constitutes an ongoing challenge to Mexico's development, contributing directly to violence and corruption in the country. Weak legal institutions have made it difficult to regulate and integrate the large informal economy that employs more than half of Mexico's workforce. Number 16, Indonesia. Indonesia is the world's 16th largest economy with a GDP of $1.06 trillion as of 2020. Indonesia's economy is the largest economy in Southeast Asia and is based largely on commodity export industries. Major exports include coal and petroleum products, in addition to agricultural commodities suitable for industrial use, such as rubber and palm oil. Indonesia has an institutional cap on its national budget deficit at minus 2.7% of GDP, which has led to its relatively low debt burden and investment grade credit rating. However, regional inequality, lack of infrastructure, and governmental corruption remain problems for Indonesia's rising economy. Number 17, the Netherlands. The Netherlands stands as the 17th largest economy in the world with a 2020 GDP of $913 billion. The Netherlands is a major commercial transportation hub with some industrial manufacturing as well as petroleum extraction and processing. It has a highly developed agricultural sector and is the second largest agricultural exporter in the world. The Netherlands has a large financial services sector with assets four times the size of Dutch GDP.